Hello guys, welcome to another exciting video. Today I'm gonna share with you my first impressions for the Danessa Myricks Lightwork 5 palette. I'm so used to saying Lightwork 4, which I already had a chance to try out for the last year, but today of course we're gonna be diving into this beautiful palette, which does have different formulas and finishes and everything. This is the prettiest packaging, not only for the Lightwork, but I'll say in general, I do love the color story. Wow. Anyways, before we continue to this tutorial, I just want to share a couple of things about this palette. So this palette has 12 months shelf life. Actually, this was designed in USA and made in China. We have 18.8 grams of a vegan, cruelty-free 18 eyeshadows with 8 different finishes. This palette retails for $125, which I know it is a lot, but at the same time, these type of products, it is specific to formulate and they do cost a lot. And again, this type of packaging, all of these small details, they do add to the pricing as well. If you want to save some money off of your purchase, you can use code Ivana Beauty and that will give you 10% off of your purchase. Anyways, let's dive into this beautiful color story. This is how packaging looks like. So this is how it came in. This is the actual packaging, and then it comes like this, and already of course swatched and everything when it comes to this palette. And I know it looks a little bit messy now, but again, for the first impressions, I think I've done a lot today. Recently she's doing same as with the Groundwork palette. She's doing like this metal thing on front, which I think design wise it's beautiful, but when it comes to practical side of it, I'm always afraid whenever I put something on this, it's going to, you know, slip because it's 3D. It's staying above the actual packaging. So that's one thing I actually am not preferring it. I think it's not practical. For today's look, I did combine her latest two palettes, being Groundwork and Lightwork. The reason for that is because I did want to give the base for today's palette so that I can achieve as much as I can. But you can use this palette on its own, of course, as well. I do love the philosophy behind this palette, which is called I Am palette. And I think it is so inspiring. And as she said, swipe it, say it, believe it. Words that are coming out of our mouth are not just plain words. Those words actually create, and it's really important what we are talking into our everyday life. So that is something that I'm so excited when it comes to this palette. I'll say it's more than just a palette with that type of approach to anything in life in general. And I do find Danessa really inspiring as a person, as an entrepreneur. She is like, her energy is so beyond everything. Like, she is so positive, and I do love her presence. Never met her in person, but for what I can see on camera, like, she's really positive person. Anyways, let's go and do some swatches. Now we're gonna do some swatches, but to make it easy, because we do have 7 different textures, I'm gonna do swatches texture-wise, so it's easier for you to see same texture and different colors. Now the first row is mainly made of Heavenly Halos, which are ethereal sparkling toppers, except for the shade center. And the way I'm gonna do these swatches is to make a full long swatch, because that's the way you swatch multi-chromes. I don't think all of these are actually multi-chromes. Some of them are even toppers, but to see all of the color shifting, we're gonna do that. So the first one is going to be Resilient. It reminds me a little bit, you know what? It does remind me a little bit from the texture from the Lightwork 4, but this one feels less powdery, which I really appreciate. But again, once we swatch everything on the actual eyes, we'll see what is going on. Ooh, this one is really smooth. And for this to be in topper, it does feel really pigmented. But again, we'll see once it is on the eyes. This is the full swatch of the first shade. Look at that. I will show you later everything on the sun. And they do feel creamy. Now, ooh, this is Radiant. Okay, let me show you the difference. Okay guys, here we have all of the 4 Heavenly Halos. Look at them. Resilient, Radiant, Protected is my favorite one at the moment, and Evolving. I'll say these feel really creamy. super impressed with the swatches. We'll see the performance on the eyes. Now centered is a fusion flake, and it is crystallized flakes with macrofine shimmer. Now this one reminds me from the Lightwork 4 palette, her chroma flakes, but those were different formula. It was even more, it has more flakes. This one, however, is a bit more, I would say, wearable, but you can see how when you grab a lot of the product, how you can literally see the flakes, and the texture is way different than what we had now with the halo. And I'll just say you'll have to be really careful when applying this type of a texture of the product to not layer that product too much, because this is what is going to happen on your skin. Now I'm gonna go into silk pressed shifters. So first I'm gonna go in with the Strong and Brave. So this is Strong. Really creamy, easy to use. It does have a shifting. It is nothing too crazy. Let's go with the other one, but texture seems to be different when I swatched, even though they're supposed to be the same formula. These two will go beautifully together. Now I'm loving even this one more than this one. Wow. See, this is what I'm talking about. So this and this is supposed to be the same formula, but can you see how different they look? Now let's swatch Loved and Healed. By the way, I'm loving the name of these products. So this is Loved. And honestly, one of the greatest things in my life is to love and to be loved. Love is such a beautiful thing expressed in many ways, which brings us to next one, which is Healed. It can mean so many stuff. Healed in physical, emotional way, and this is how it looks like. This is beautiful. So this is not like too crazy shifting. We'll see the other ones. I think some of them shift even more. Now we have whipped powder shifters, which are fierce, fearless, and inspiring and abundant. So these are supposed to be more powdery. Can you see this? This one has flakes as well. This one not that much, and then inspiring and abundant. These are also shifting. These are pressed pigments, and I think this one, being fierce, is shifting the most. Let's check it out. Yeah, you can see the flakes. I think I've used too much, but it's good to see the pigment is here. So fierce and fearless. Now let's watch other two powder shifters. Ooh, this one is really bold in the color. And these are how they look like. I don't know if I can use more of my hand for the swatches. You know what? Why not? Now I'm gonna go with Sweat Shimmers, being Unstoppable, Unbreakable, and Enough. And these are Velvet Light Catching Shimmers. Unstoppable, Unbreakable, and Enough. So these are Unstoppable, Unbreakable, and Enough. These undertones, they remind me a little bit of a fall. Now let's check shade Powerful. This is Cushion Chrome Plush Multi-Chromatic Color Flashing Pressed Pigment. It is a multi-chrome, so let's check it. It looks like this. This one has a flakes as well, and it is multi-chrome. And last we have Molten Metal. This is like a mirror shine, really ultra reflective shade being formulated like that. And these are all the shades. I'll say I'm most impressed with the first row and then with the middle row for now, and probably gonna use them today to create something. Look at them. Anyways, this is how they look like in the artificial light, and let me take them to the sunlight. Before I start creating my look, because this is no matte palette, it's total opposite of it. Of course, you can use these without mattes, but to create a complete look today, I'm gonna use mattes as my as my base. And for that, I decided to use Danessa Myricks Groundwork palette. Now, one good thing when we talk about type of the products like that we have in Lightwork 5 palette, especially if we are talking about multichromes, is how good to apply when the base is tacky, when it's not dry, and that is something what we have in here when it comes to Groundwork palette. So let me start by, you know what, I want to create a guideline for the multichrome, which is going to be the main focus for today's tutorial. And also I wanted to say that you can definitely skip this part if you just want to see application of the Lightwork 5 palette, but if you want to create this look, then stay tuned. Going with the powdery shade Sandstone. I said a couple of times already how much I love this shade. I love her undertone. Going to look beautifully combined with the rest of the look. Now I just wanted to say that based on swatches that are already done, I'm going into this tutorial kind of skeptical when it comes to multichromes. The only truly shifting multichrome that I saw so far, I think that it's going to work like the real multichrome, is the shade Fierce. We have a couple of more, but some of them are actually being toppers, so I'm not quite sure how that's gonna work. We'll see, I may get surprised. As you can see, I am truly packing this eyeshadow, or should I say this powder, but technically this can be an eyeshadow. I'm gonna take blending brush. I'm gonna go in now with in a shade Mirage, and I will focus this one underneath the previous shade. And one thing I did use underneath previous one, and I'm going to take my time and to blend this well. This is also good contour neutral shade. This is gonna go nicely towards this area, towards my nose. And yes, this is going to be advanced makeup look, but I do love this type of makeup looks. They're so worth it at the end. Now let's go into this beautiful brick tone shade with the orange undertone. I don't think I had a chance to try this one yet while creating a look. I don't even remember, but these are so soft and they do blend nicely. I'll say I do love the formula in these ones. And again, for this I am using my blending brush, and now I will just spread this color around with whatever has been left on my brush. And as you can see, I am going really high towards my eyebrow in here. The reason for that is because the most of the part the multichrome is going to take when it comes to today's look. And this is such a beautiful blend. If you are a beginner, I would highly suggest this palette, especially when it comes to these mattes. They blend easily and they are soft. If you are just thinking to see full in-depth review, I also have that one on my channel, and I will link that one as well in the description box. Now I want to go in with a little bit darker but warmer undertone brown shade. It's going to be Harvest shade. I still need some depth to connect everything later with the black. Ooh, this looks so beautiful. I wanted to say I have to remember this combination. It's a good thing that I know I'm filming this. I do love this combo. It's beautiful. And that's it. You know, we do have first impressions, but then the more we use certain products, some of them, they really grew, at least I'll say personally, they really grew on me. The combination, and I don't know, just what you, in general, what you can do with certain products. Definitely. This is beautiful. Now I'm also going to add that Harvest shade on my other corner as well and connect everything, and this is what I've got. Now one good thing is that we here in this palette we do have a pomade, so I'm gonna go in with the shade Tourmaline, Pomade Tourmaline. And I'm going to apply that one as my black base. Now, why am I doing this? Is because the multichrome stands the best on top of the black base. I will leave a little bit of space in my inner corner just because I will apply a lighter shade there. Now I'm gonna use this powder tourmaline just to connect everything on this side right here with my previous shades. I'm also using previous brush that I've used, and I also can a little bit just combine everything. And this is actually one of the ways how you can even create a smoky look, and it is really intense looking. And the other reason why I am using powder, because I will stop on the edge with my multichrome. I'm gonna go in with the NYX glitter primer. I will try and use to spread this evenly, but I'm not gonna use too much because I realized when I was using it on this eye, it lifted my base underneath. Yeah, it's really on the edge. Like, I'm used to Inglott's MC gel liner and that one really stays, but with this one I have to be careful. Now I'm gonna going with the Fierce color, and because this one has like flakes, I will go one step at a time. I don't want to use too much of a product. The product can collect in a way, you know, on top of itself. And you do not want to use that much of this product. So you really have to be careful of how much of this one you are using. Otherwise it can look like you can kind of, gonna kind of peel off itself, if that makes any sense. And you're gonna see the flakes. And I'll show you in a second what I mean. I just have to finish. And also, like I've said so many times, when it comes to multichrome, we need to give it a space to travel from one side to the other. You can't use multichrome just on a small portion. No, the wider, the better. I just remembered I have hair amplifiers, so I broke one, but I think this is most of the rest of the amplifiers. These are silicone brushes and they do pick up quite of the product. I am so not used to work with these, and I do have them for a year already, but I use them to pick up my other products, not this. But yeah, you can definitely use them. But now I have to go with my brush. And again, I always test on my hand like how much excess of the product do I really have on my brush. It's hard to maintain. But these are a little bit harder to work with. Any flake in type of the formula, I used the most challenging one today. Actually, two of them. The first one, when I swatched, I said I'm probably not gonna use that one, but the way it transforms on my skin, it looks beautifully. So regarding the formula, I decided to use that one. And I do take my time just to try to spread this evenly as much as I can. I'm also gonna go in back with this black shade, try to compare this with the multichrome. Now I'm gonna go in with the shade Fearless, which this shade is matching Fierce color, and this one goes right into my inner corner. And also, again, I know we swatched this. This is centered shade. This shade looks so beautiful on a bare skin. I think I'm gonna use this one for my highlights today. Again, a bit difficult to apply like this, but just because of the undertone, I love to incorporate this one with today's look. In terms of color story, this is not what I was planning to do today, but when I saw the shifting, this one was my go-to because I wanted to apply this one, being Fierce color. And I can play with the other shades some other time and, you know, just test this palette even more. As I was playing and testing with some shades, this is what I've got, and I really do love this pop of, like, such a mix of the colors, you know. It's primarily blue, but it does have like a aqua green undertone as well. I'll just start by applying MC Gel eyeliner from Inglot in number 77. You guys, I don't know what I would do without this one. This is my go-to. I don't know how many times have I mentioned this product. The only reason actually why I'm not using tourmaline from the Danessa Myricks is because it's not waterproof, and this one really stays in place. So I'm just going to connect that one with everything else and just follow my lower lash line like so. Take the excess off my brush so I can connect everything. I'm gonna go and spread it here a little bit more. Direction is good. And this outlining of the eye, it really does transform any look, you guys. Now to set this, I'm using tourmaline powder from the Groundwork palette. And I'm also going to apply it a little bit more. Oh, what I forgot to mention in the meantime, I just applied Inglott's gel liner also in number 77, just on my upper waterline and on my lash line. Now this feels a little bit heavy. Just gonna spread this color with my blending brush a little bit. Now I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. I don't know how to pronounce this one. I think it's chiseled. Just a little bit to outline the lower lash line. You do realize when I do create my looks, for the most part, I do take a lot of time to create a lower lash line. The reason for that is because we're gonna give dimension not only on our other half of the eye, but everything has to be cohesive, and to do that you have to spend time and wide the eyeshadows here as well. So this one will help me just to kind of blend everything together, and because I'm going in mostly with a different color story, I am using different matte as well. Here I went with a little bit more warmer tones. Even though this is really different, what I would say the main reason why I've done this is because of today's review, but I do love the way how it combines together. I really do. Now I'm gonna use shade Strong, and look how pigmented this is. We are gonna have a really long video today. Now we have a strong pigment. How you're going to blend this and in a way still to have that full pigment. I'm using same brush. I'm just gonna take the excess of the brush, and now I kind of smudge the edges, and it will incorporate with the previous matte shades. See, that's the beauty of working with the different textures and different undertones. I'm going to use shade Brave, and again, haven't done myself a favor today. I'm using all the chrome flaky shades, so when you pick it up you can see how it can look like, and these are the most challenging to work with, so you have to be careful with the amount, but when you break them they really look nice. So I'm going to break whatever I picked on my brush. It'll be harder to stay on brush like this, and I'm gonna go in just in my inner corner. And now, because I wanted to spice it up a little bit, and I really do love the textures of the first row, I went into the shade Protected. And here a little bit goes a long way. Look how gorgeous this is. The first row is really easy to manipulate and work with. The flakes, as usual, are a bit challenging, I'll say. And for the end, I decided to go with the centered a little bit. Make a cohesive inner corner, you know? But it's still going to be divided by what we have done already. And this right here, I'm going to clean as much as I can. Do I have a lot of fallout? Actually, I don't. I will emphasize a little bit this area right here. I will apply some lashes, finish off the rest of my face, and I will be right back with you. I'll say Heavenly Halos may be my favorite formula here. I love what she's done when it comes to the formulation, but again, I'll have to give this palette tested them multiple times to see and have my kind of a final thoughts. And that is it, you guys, when it comes to today's video. I would like to finish my first impressions by saying that when it comes to multichromes, this palette unfortunately did not exceed my expectations. So the only truly multichrome that I would say, but it's more a flake texture, it is this Fierce multichrome, and in general, because this type of product emphasizes your skin texture, it's not something I'm a fan of. But besides the multichromes, if you do love to play with a color and you do love these all these type of finishes, you will love this palette. I'm not saying I'm not loving this palette, it's just when it comes to the multichromes, it's not actually what I thought it's going to be. And some other shifting products in here, because they are toppers, they are not that opaque, but what I'm gonna do is to try them also with a black base and to see how they perform. Again, these are just first impressions. I enjoy the look that I've created today, and I love this difference in this half and that half of the eye look. And also, I do love these toppers. I think they are going so smooth, easy to work with. The only struggly part in this palette are, of course, these formulas that have like fine flakes in them. These are not actually, let me just show you from the Lightwork 4 that we had. Like, we had these chroma flakes. In texture, so different, like they're way harder. These are, I would say, much more finely refined, if that makes sense. And these toppers, the last one being here, for example, Divinity and Angels, these, in my opinion, were too dry for the toppers. I'm not saying that the formula was dry, but for the toppers, In this palette, she definitely made way better and improved formula when it comes to that, I'll say, and I love it. When it comes to certain multi-chromes in this palette, I do love them. I'll say even more than in this one, because when it comes to that shifting, this palette also has like very beautiful shifting products as well. But again, so happy to see really smooth and buttery, especially this first line right here. And the second row is definitely my favorite at the moment, but I will again try and test this palette to give you my final thoughts. And also this one is made to be easier, user-friendly to use as a palette. Oh, I did forget to mention, and I do love that a lot, just a little bit, what I've applied on as my highlighter. It was centered. It is like having like those flakes, so the amount that I put on my cheekbones was so minimal. Underneath I have my hourglass. I'm in love with this one. This is leopard palette and this highlighter right here. Anyways, I will finish this video with these thoughts. We will discuss a little bit more the difference between these two palettes in next video. Let me know your thoughts when it comes to this palette. Are you excited to see different formulas in this one? I was super excited to see that the Lightwork 5 was finally coming out, especially after this last palette. I think you can pair this one so beautifully with this one. Exactly what I've done today, and I do love the performance. And the more that I use this as eyeshadows, I loved it today. They blended so well, so nicely. Anyways, without any further ado, before you leave, make sure to watch this video. And guys, I will see you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.